Welcome to nascimentomktg's 32 Blitz presented by Living Sport. Tonight is Kent State versus University of San Francisco with our Living Sport guest. Before we get to everyone, I'll just go over the rules quickly. As always, best of 3 series, so there can be at most 2-3 games tonight, maybe 2. 12-minute games, we're playing 2K, so 3-minute quarters. Winner advances to the second round, and actually they will be playing Penn State. So winner plays Penn State. And finally, teams will be selected via random. So to select your teams, you can do the 2 random options. So you can get Raptors, Warriors. But if you don't want either of those teams, you can go for a third. If you get stuck with the Hornets on the third try, you're stuck. You can't go back to the Raptors or Warriors. So with that, let me get to everyone tonight. So from the top, we have Mitchell from Kent State. Below me is Dylan from Living Sport. He's our Living Sport guest. And at the very bottom, we have Raphael from the University of San Francisco. Before we get into everyone and do the little background, let's get the game going. So if you both could do the 2 randoms, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, so it looks like Raptors first.
Good pick.
Magic second.
Ooh, Rockets. I'm just gonna stay with the Rockets. My roommate's from Houston, so
you can do a second one.
Feeling...
Second one's free.
Nah, man. Let's go with Houston. Let's go with Houston, man. I'm feeling that team.
So Mitchell, I got Magic.
Mitchell, I know you're going Raptors, right? You know, you got the Canadian boy hosting.
Ooh, some Portland.
Ooh, I've got Portland. That's tough to pass up right there. Just based off pure guard play and the mismatch at center, I have to take the Trailblazers.
That's fine, I guess. You know, I get to get hurt every stream. Anyway,
maybe not.
Yeah. Here, so let's there, but yeah. Let's click start if you guys can. I don't know if you're able to online. Raphael, could you be in I think NBA? Oh, you guys already started. It doesn't matter. So, just for reference, Raphael of USF, he will be the Rockets, and then Mitchell from Kent State will be the Trailblazers, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, let's get it.
Now, the best part of the stream, you guys get to multitask. Dylan and I get to just chat while you guys multitask. Mitchell, do you want to start? Maybe give a little background, who you are, where you went to school or where you go to school, and then what you're trying to do in the world of sports. And then we can go Mitchell, Dylan, Raphael.
Cool. Okay, so you can hear my controller going off there.
No, don't worry. I paused it. Let's go.
No,
I want to know, Mitchell, what's good?
It's good to meet you, man. It's good to meet all you guys on here. So my name is Mitchell Reiner. Obviously, as you can see above, I made a little name tag. Yeah. I went to Kent State University. Actually, I'll have one more semester left. I'll graduate in December with a degree in managerial marketing and a sales certificate as well. And that's what I plan to do in the world of sports eventually. Right now, I currently work for a company called Fastenal. They're industrial construction supplies. But eventually, I want to work my way into the world of sports, whether that be in the sales world, the marketing world, pretty much any way I can get my feet wet. And because I just love the industry, I have a passion for it. And the way I see it, whatever kind of work I do in that industry isn't work to me, man. It's just what I want to do. So it's good to meet all you guys.
100%, absolutely. That's great stuff. Good way to start. Dylan?
Hey, everyone. Name's Dylan Hammond. I'm with Living Sport, the presenting sponsor of the stream. I'm an alumni of our Living Sport International Sport Business Program. I went on a trip in 2018 to London and worked the Royal Windsor Triathlon. Currently, I'm living out in Colorado Springs. I work for USA Triathlon, which is one of the national governing bodies of the United States of America within the Olympic and Paralympic movement. So, glad to be on this stream. Glad to be a part of Chris's 32 Blitz, and excited to watch some good 2K today.
Yeah, that's great stuff. Raphael, before we get to you, do you mind just getting the game going? Because no one wants to watch a loading screen. That's no fun for me or the millions watching. Yes, I said millions, so don't disappoint anyone. Raphael, let's get into you before it gets too intense.
All right, so hello guys, Dylan, Chris, Mitchell, my opponent. It's good to finally be here. I'm excited to be a part of the stream. I'm originally from the LA area. Born in South America and in Paraguay. and went to undergrad at Carnegie Mellon University, thinking I wanted to be, kind of in the musical theater scene, but ended up kind of switching up. So, I'm just starting to kind of get my feet wet in the sport management industry. Graduated from Columbia College Chicago in sport management and marketing. So just trying to, get it started and excited to be here.
Yeah, no, everyone had great intros. I guess I got to follow that up. Christopher Nascimento, I'm the host. I'm the name behind Nascimento Marketing. I actually just finished school, technically 2 weeks ago. It was my graduation, virtual graduation. I don't count it. But anyways, so finished school, got a marketing degree, specifically Bachelor of Commerce. I work with the new soccer team here in Ottawa, Canada, called Atletico Ottawa. They're owned by Atletico de Madrid, so pretty cool ties there. Involved, since it's such a new team, I'm involved with all things marketing, media, communications, social media, whatever, they need help with, I'm working on it there. But I just want to touch on quickly what Mitchell said, just working in sports, how once you get into that whole field and industry that you're passionate but doesn't feel like you're working. So I know I do long hours sometimes, I work 9 to 5 and even later sometimes, as I was just answering calls and emails before this stream. And then I come and do this, my personal brand, which is in sports. And it doesn't feel like I'm doing huge hour days. It just feels like talking about sports, looking and doing research and just talking about like-minded people as well. So love it, and I'm glad to hear that there's like-minded people on this stream as well. Yeah.
Should be an N1.
So what's the score here? I might need to wear my glasses.
It's tied 4-4 right now. I got a latency like nobody's business right now, though, so I'm just playing some D.
Excuses already. That's a tough look. That's a tough look for the West Coast.
Hey, man, just calling it how it is. However, it's all right. It's all right. We're here.
Dylan, where are you located currently?
So living out in Colorado Springs, for USA Triathlon with the USOPC, the Olympic and Paralympic Committee, located out in Springs. So we're just up the road from headquarters in Colorado Springs here. So been out here for almost a year and a half at this point. Came out in March, beginning of March of 2019 is when I started my current role with USA Triathlon.
Nice. Are you originally from, I'm assuming, the Rocky area, or are you from East Coast?
So actually born and raised in Ohio. Grew up in Columbus, went to Miami University in Oxford, Ohio. So me and Mitchell bringing the action to this Tuesday night 2K matchup. And after college graduation, moved up to Cleveland, worked for a few different organizations up there, did an internship with the Cleveland Browns in the Greater Cleveland Sports Commission, and then started working in activation for corporate partnerships with the Cleveland Cavaliers. So that's a little bit of my background and who I've worked for. But yeah, really, this is the first time I've really taken a job out of the state of Ohio, and it's been awesome. Colorado's an awesome place to live. There's so much to do here. Every weekend we're going on hikes, going camping, things like that. So yeah, it's awesome out here.
Yeah, for sure. It kind of sounds like Canada a bit, but yeah. So I guess it's the one every second night. I'm always the only Canadian here. So I know there's a few nights ago. Actually, it happened more than once. Just the way I talk, sometimes I said I think within the first 10 seconds, and they're already giggling. So if I say that, don't giggle too loudly. But yeah, that's good stuff. Raphael,
it's really cool. Guys get to pull it up on their phone or on their laptop and watch their local team. We get people from China, Florida. I get to watch these small towns in Ohio play their high school sports. So it's really cool. I did a little bit of color commentating for them. I also did some ad sales for them too. So a little bit of a mix of everything. I got some really cool experience doing that. But other than that, not a whole lot. I'm looking to work particularly either in the marketing side of sports and or sales.
Yeah.
So, either way, I'd like to get involved into that. And I think I found my way, man. I'm connecting with people like you guys. So we'll see what we can do here in the following weeks or so, especially with COVID. So.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's good stuff. And I don't know if I said this before or during the stream. So I lived in Boston for a year, and even though we're just right on top of the U.S. in terms of geographic location, just culturally in terms of sports, it's so different. So yes, we do have the major four sports here as well. But in terms of high school, like, so I was in Massachusetts, so Boston, and it's not like Texas, so it's not as big football. But Friday night, everyone was going to the game, like the high school game, and
Right.
you know, like I remember we went to go look at the field, and it's like brand new turf, stadiums. Us, we use like regular grass. We're slowly transitioning everywhere to turf because, you know, it freezes here, so it just ruins turf. But yeah, it's so crazy how big high school sports are and how people can like make livings off that. Like you're saying, there's a whole network that just does high school sports. So that's pretty crazy in itself.
Oh yeah, it stretches a couple counties wide, and the guy that runs it's local to my area. Shout out DJ Oakley. So
No free shout out.
send him on the screen there.
All these free plugs out here, man. You got to start charging them.
Hey, let me just do another plug. The Route Podcast on all major platforms. You know, just have to make up for that.
Yeah, man, go for it.
No,
It is what it is.
No, it's a joke. I'm just kidding. But yeah, I'm not joking about the Route Podcast available every Monday. But
I support it. I'm behind it.
yeah, I know everyone here and the millions listening or watching this are also, you know, my listeners. Shout out to you guys. But you know, that's definitely interesting. In terms of kind of touch on high school, and I think I talked about this on other streams as well. Do you guys have any interest in working in college, high school, or is it mainly just professional sports you guys are interested in working in?
Mainly professional. I guess I never thought about the college route. So now you're opening my mind a little bit. It's not like I'm opposed to doing either of those things. So I'm definitely open to it.
Yeah, for me, you know, I actually got my start in professional sports. So I started with the WNBA basketball team, the Chicago Sky. That was my first kind of introduction into the sports world. Then, fortunately, I got a couple great connections that set me up with the Chicago Bears. So I worked for the Bears for 2 seasons, one in sales and another in fan operations. And then I slowly kind of moved into more of an agency setting. I think the main reason why I kind of gravitated towards that is being a musical theater actor in high school. I ultimately gravitated towards, you know, being on stage and being, you know, the presence, kind of, you know, messing with those tactics and pulling the plugs and being very strategic in how I, you know, presented myself on stage. And so that kind of translated into the agency setting. Once I knew that, you know, I no longer had a passion for musical theater and that I kind of wanted to change my career path, I ultimately found that, you know, Jerry Maguire, you know, that movie was just so inspiring to me. And that was this kind of like, if you will, you know, the appeal to wanting to be in sports. And so in terms of like where I want to go, it's kind of just what opportunities open myself. I don't want to pigeonhole myself into one area. I think I did that very early on and kind of learned a lot from that opportunity of just kind of being open and accepting to every opportunity that comes my way. And, you know, there's a path and there's a saying that, you know, sometimes the thing that you want to do the most never happens, but, you know, there's always some great alternatives to, you know, to that, you know, you end up finding the right position for you in that.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's well said.
Yeah, and I know, like, I mean, through a few years of college, I worked in the athletic department doing equipment management. So really like behind the scenes for basketball and volleyball at Miami. So doing everything from, you know, prepping the locker rooms to being, you know, out on the court during the games, just, you know, restocking certain items and stuff. So, I mean, it was just, you know, it was a great way to experience while you're in school. And I know a lot of universities offer that within their athletics departments. I know Miami does a really good job of, you know, providing internship opportunities and stuff for students who are, you know, in the sport management field. But to your point about high school too, you know, I played basketball, I played water polo in high school. And, you know, that was something that kind of stuck with me. So when I went to college, you know, I really wasn't interested in continuing to play outside of, you know, just recreation and intramurals. But I did continue, like during the summer, I coached high school water polo, went back to my school, and we had a summer club team. So, you know, I helped do assistant coaching there. And, you know, I'd love to someday, you know, if it's an opportunity to get back, you know, if depending on where I'm living at the time, maybe get back into some coaching at a local level for a high school that maybe has a team or help start one. So, you know, it's always been something on the back of my mind. And, you know, I think that really comes down to obviously where I'm at that time. And obviously what my job at that point would kind of require hours wise, because that's a lot of time commitment there. And especially time of day for a lot of high school coaching would kind of fall towards the end of a normal work day. So.
No, yeah, those are all great answers. And just kind of building off what Dylan said, but before I do so, Raphael, it's funny that you said Jerry Maguire because I remember I watched that in grade 5 for the first time. I'm like, oh, I'm going to be an agent. And I actually ended up talking to some lawyers when I was like 5, or in grade 5, grade 6, trying to understand like what I need to do. And I actually ended up speaking to a lot of people, and they're like, yeah, if you want to be an agent, there's a good chance that you need to, almost like scout talent and, what is it? Work until 40 and, potentially not make too much money then until you kind of get to that senior level and, acquire those clients from, someone that retires. So that was pretty interesting. And I kind of looked into it and, you know what, ended up going accounting, which was something else. Went to school for accounting, then eventually it hit me. I'm like, oh no, like sports marketing is what it is. But just building on what Dylan said here about water polo, I know just from my discussions I've had on the podcast that, sometimes when you're growing up and you think about working in sports, you always think of the huge teams, right? You think of the Red Sox, the Yankees, NBA, NHL, whatever you want. You think of those teams and you're like, oh, I want to work for those. But in reality, there's so many different levels of sport, different even sports like water polo. Have you guys ever looked into, maybe working for the water? I'm sure there's a water polo national organization, or like you said, coaching. Have you guys ever thought about those smaller sports? Because oftentimes you can be a little more creative and a little more versatile in those roles too.
Sure. No, I've never actually thought about in that realm. I guess, typical Ohio boy here, in a small town Ohio boy, I should say, we don't have water polo where I'm from. It's not a big thing. We don't even have a lacrosse team, very small. I mean, to give you some context, I graduated with 50 people in my high school class. So
I was 67, I think. So I don't think I'm too far off.
Yeah. Mine was 18.
Whoa.
So I'm surprised. Yeah.
Okay, you win. Dylan's going to go like 5. No. Where'd you graduate, Raphael, before we get back into Mitchell?
So I graduated from Westmark High School, which is in Encino, California. So small little private school, basically off the freeway. And just a small little school, even though it's in LA, it was kind of very specified in terms of like your learning style and techniques and kind of getting you ready for college.
Interesting. Sorry, Mitchell, not to cut you off.
No, you're good, man. No problem. Real small school, like just out in the middle of nowhere, essentially. And speaking of coaching, I hate to regress, but I coached a 6th grade basketball team in the local area, and that is something that I absolutely enjoyed. Like, definitely, like you said, Dylan, if my career affords it, one day I'd love to jump back into that and do some coaching at the high school level for a local area team. Like, there's something about it. There's magic behind it. Really, it's an amazing experience.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because I know I've listened to some podcasts too where you hear like NFL players or even other athletes as well that say, some of their best memories in sports is always at the grassroots. So when they're growing up in high school, then once it gets to college and professional, it's too business oriented rather than just playing the game they love. So I'm sure that's part of the reason why that is such a big deal. And before I quickly plug the podcast again, there was someone that was on my podcast I think 2 weeks ago. He was a sport management grad. He wanted to get into management/coaching, and he started off in a sales role for a minor hockey team here who was affiliated with a NHL team. And eventually, he talked to the scouts. He started going scouting with them. And now he's the video coach for the Ottawa Senators, so my team's affiliated minor team. So even just because I think the way the sports world is working now, you don't necessarily need to be a retired player or, someone that's been ingrained in the sport forever, where you can go to college and still end up becoming a coach or manager as well.
Yeah, and I know heck, at Miami, and I'm sure a lot of universities, have that same kind of team manager position where a lot of students who are interested in going the coaching route, they'll be a manager for whether the football team, the basketball teams, and whatever it may be. And, that's how they really kind of get their start there. They go from being a manager as an undergrad to going to grad school and being a GA for one of the teams, and from there they kind of just work their way up. So it is pretty interesting, and I had working for the athletics department, I had a lot of friends that went that route and were interested in going the coaching route, and a lot of them have some have moved on. One of them's working doing business development for the Cavs now. Another one actually is has pursued his graduate degree and is doing a GA position for one of the for his university's basketball program. So yeah, a lot of students that go that route, some that stay with it, some that find something different to do in the industry. But yeah, it's awesome to see the different routes that people take to some of those things where whether you're in sports management or not, and still finding a way to find your place in the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one of the cool things about the States as well is that you guys have such huge college sports where that experience that a student can get at, I know last week we had someone from Syracuse, he ended up being an intern and then I think he goes coordinator, then maybe manager with the basketball team, and just that experience, because that's a huge team, right? Like Syracuse basketball, Syracuse's university, even Miami and Kent State as well. Such huge sports teams as a whole that experience is extremely valuable, whereas maybe in Canada you're with a smaller school, it's still extremely valuable experience, but you're not dealing with the same level of logistics or audience with their eyes on you as well. So definitely a cool experience how accessible it is for American students. But yeah, are we finishing here already? Wow.
Yeah, we're flying through. I just lagged out and ran out of bounds, so that's cool, but it is what it is.
Oh, excuses. What happened?
Hey, Raphael, I think you had excuses at the start, no?
Hey, you know what? It's how you finish.
That's right. I had many opportunity. So we'll see you in game 2.
What is
it? There, man. I'm not going to get too cocky, man. A lot of game left.
But yeah, Chris, to your point earlier about like those smaller sports, USA Water Polo is one. Raphael, I'm not sure if you're aware, but their USA Water Polo is based in Huntington Beach, there in California. So pretty close to you. And just being a smaller sport, knowing that California is so big for water polo, kind of makes sense that they're there versus really anywhere else in the country. But even for me, with my initial trip with Living Sport to London, the Royal Windsor Triathlon was like the first experience that I ever had with the sport of triathlon. Mm-hmm. And then, a year and a half later, I'm moving out to Colorado Springs to work with the national governing body in the United States. So it's crazy to see how, one experience there can really just open your eyes to, what actually is out there. And since then, I've, just being in contact with a lot of our members, with a lot of race directors around the country who host their own triathlons, it's crazy to see like how many were, right there when I was growing up. Like I could have easily, found the race director in Columbus or in Cleveland and worked, their events and stuff and been immersed in triathlon my whole life. And it's crazy to know that, they're so close, but just because of, there's such a focus in America on those bigger sports mm-hmm. that some of those smaller ones really get lost outside of the Olympics, really, when it's really going to be the only time you see it on a competitive level. Even when I was in high school playing water polo, during the summers when the Summer Olympics would come around, I was lifeguarding and we'd be at the pool and a lot of kids would come in and they'd start playing water polo in the pool. And it was the craziest thing just to see, because none of those kids ever knew what water polo was, but now that it was on TV during the Olympics, they now understand that, this is a real thing and they're coming to the pool playing it during the summer. So yeah, it's really cool to see, those smaller sports get that exposure, but knowing that, it is like a lot of these smaller sports, there is stuff all over that you can, get involved with. But just because of the exposure that those smaller sports have, it's not something that people think about.
No, for sure.
Yeah. To chime in there, Dylan. Yeah, I do know about U.S. water polo actually being close by. A couple of my cohort mates from the University of San Francisco are either a part of it or the head coach.
That's awesome.
McKenna is actually one of the head coaches at U.S. water polo. So she just originally got that position very, very frequently, and then she just graduated, an alum of USF. And then there is another close friend of mine, Joseph Satriano, who actually just got an internship role there. So I am quite aware of the water polo scene. Me personally, I've never played before, so I don't have an understanding for the sport, but I definitely think that in terms of the grand scheme of things, I would love to kind of dive into smaller sports and kind of give the love that they, so rightfully deserve, because there's plenty of athletes in gymnastics even that don't get the recognition that they deserve, because these are high profile athletes that, mm-hmm. Jump, that soar through the sky, and that are able to do very athletic things, and they don't get the recognition outside of just the US Olympics or any sort of Olympic. So I definitely think that there's an opportunity there, as well as special needs, at Special Olympics. I mean, there's some great athletes in the Special Olympic, realm. So I think that there's definitely a lot of avenues that you can kind of venture into and kind of find a following and a backing there.
100%. And before we kind of continue on that, do you guys want to do the random? And while you guys do the random, we can kind of continue with that discussion as well. So same thing, 2 randoms. If not, you can go for your third.
Sixers.
I'll let you guys do that before I can continue.
So I got the Sixers.
So I got OKC.
Okay.
Sixers, Bucks. You know what? Just to add some randomness to it, I'm gonna go 3. Just to.
I think you should both go 3. Why not? Make it interesting. No?
Yeah, man. Let's go for it. Let's roll the dice.
Let's do it. Absolutely. So I got OKC, Bucks, and let's see what the random is.
Clippers.
Denver. All right, here we go.
This makes it interesting.
Good matchup.
Murray.
That's a good matchup.
Okay. Jokic.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
There you go.
Just touching on what Dylan was saying in terms of how accessible sports are. How you're saying, sorry, I have bad allergies. Just growing up, that if you knew of like triathlon a little bit more when you're growing up, how close like the director of triathlon was to Columbus where you're growing up. And I think we talked about this on yesterday's podcast. People were asking me, how do you get certain guests on your podcast? Like, what do you do to have them speak with me for an hour or so? And crazy enough, I just go on LinkedIn, send them an invite to connect, but add a note. So I add a personalized note because there's only 250 characters I think you can use anyways. It's not like a paragraph. Just say, hey, so-and-so, here's my spiel. If you're interested, please get back to me. And, often 50% of the time they get back to me. And if not, they take maybe a few months to answer. And it's basically as easy as that, where people are much more accessible if you just put yourself out there. And even I know when I was younger, I was like, there's no way that you can, get in contact with the CEO so easily. But LinkedIn makes the world small for sure. So that's pretty interesting too. And then just to confirm here for those watching, sorry, I can't see well. Nuggets are in white, correct?
Yes, sir.
Correct.
Okay, so white is USF and Raphael, and blue is Clippers and Mitchell from Kent State. So just so everyone's aware. And sorry, I always end up getting distracted once I start staring at the screen. Yeah, what were we talking about? So anyone, you guys can just take the conversation, go wherever you want. I do this every day. I'm fine with sitting back a bit.
To be honest, man, I like where you're going with LinkedIn because I can attest to that. I met you via LinkedIn through obviously it was the podcast, but then connecting and just asking, putting yourself out there, like, hey, how do I get involved with this? How do I get myself out there? Otherwise, I'd never been on the stream. So. LinkedIn's opened up so many opportunities with me. It's how I got, hooked up with the, certain teams that I did throughout, this whole hiring process. And with COVID, if COVID were cut short, I might be working for a team right now. But with everything going on, it's unbelievable how LinkedIn has, like you said, perfectly made the world small for me personally.
100%. Look, I'm in, Canada. I'm, in Quebec, just across the river from Ottawa. And, you're, like you said, you're in a small town in Ohio and we're able to connect. And, I'm sure after all this, we'll all close the stream, add each other on LinkedIn, stay connected. And who knows, just from, LinkedIn, we're all stuck at home anyway. So it's crazy enough that we're able to connect over this unique platform too, which is kind of the whole objective behind this as well. But
that's the awesome thing about like the Living Sport Network too, is just like, now after, going through a program and being a part of this alumni network that, each summer, with the exception of right now, just kind of given, a lot of the shutdowns, but, in the future, there's going to be multiple programs this summer that's going to introduce 25 new kids per program, into the alumni network. So you're just continuously adding to your network year in and year out. And it's as simple as, introducing yourself. We had a couple people who are going to be attending Living Sports domestic trip to Nashville at the beginning of August. And a couple of those individuals who are going on the trip posted about it on LinkedIn, and right away, multiple Living Sport alumni were, congratulating them on their acceptance into the program and stuff. And right there, just making that connection with somebody new. So, it is a huge tool, just making those connections. And for me personally, I know when I was probably midway through my junior year of college, I did start really ramping up my LinkedIn usage and connecting with people. And, I'd reached out to a member of the Cavs sales team asking about, what kind of internships and stuff that they provided. And from there, I got invited to a sales skills workshop. And at that sales skills workshop, I learned about this marketing project that the Cleveland Cavaliers do year in and year out with a group called the Marcus Graham Project based out of Dallas. And through that, I ended up attending this Cavs marketing workshop, which was like a 3-4 day workshop where, you work on building a corporate partnership between the Cavs and one of their partners. And you attend networking events with the Cavs staff. You watch basketball, you go to a couple of their games and kind of get a feel for, what the marketing assets at an NBA basketball game looks like. And then from there, that's how I made the connections within the corporate partnerships team to eventually get my job with the Cavs. So it's amazing how just, making that one connection on LinkedIn kind of led to that job that I had in Cleveland after school. And then ultimately, I'm out here now. But yeah, it's crazy just to see how, some of those connections can really open the doors in the long term.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, it's crazy how Living Sport, just building off what you're saying there, how every year there's multiple trips, there's new incoming class, I guess you could say, into the network. And there's just every Living Sport guest I've had on here so far, amazing. They all have crazy, unique experience. They all, have been overseas to, work for a triathlon. I think the other one in Germany was a mud run, something like that. Mudder?
Yeah, tough mudder.
Yeah, mudder. So, everyone has unique experience just from Living Sport. But then building on that, someone's working for the Eagles, someone else is working for the Dodgers, someone like yourself working for the triathlon. Everyone's pretty well connected, and you're just kind of building off each other. And let's say you kind of want to pivot to a different sport or pivot to a different area of business within sport, you have that huge network as well. So that's pretty cool. And I'm super glad that I'm able to partner with them, especially, being a recent graduate all the way in Ottawa, Canada. So that's definitely cool stuff, and I'm sure Living Sport and I will be working on things in the future too.
Yeah, hopefully. And I know, just the four of us on the stream right now, we're all from different parts. Like, you're from Canada, the three of us are from different parts of the United States. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy to see how many individuals in the Living Sport network are, from all over the place. And, for us, it really is it seems like it's a lot smaller community than what it actually appears to be. Mm-hmm. One of the kids on my trip, Chris Quo, is actually a Kent State grad. So it was really interesting. I met him first in the airport when we were getting ready to head to London, and Alicia introduced us saying, hey, there's another participant, who went to school in Ohio. So yeah, Chris went to Kent, I went to Miami. So we had a close, relationship there. And from there, Chris and I, we've done a lot together. We went to Cancun with Alicia this past December and worked an event. So, got to enjoy Cancun and at the same time work another Living Sport event. So, just continuously building on those connections. And Mitchell, that's a connection I can certainly make between you and Chris, just, with your Kent State connection there.
I love that, man. I'd love to connect for sure. But
yeah, it's awesome to see, how you're like, there's 20 plus people here that I've never met before and know nothing about, but, you're all interested in working in sports. You may have gone to a school in the same conference. You may live, a couple 100 miles apart. So, it is crazy that, with the amount of connections that I've made through Living Sport, how close everybody actually is.
100%. And it's crazy that you mentioned this where, this stream is basically trying to pull people from all sorts of areas of Canada and the US. And then when we kind of finally come down to the 4 or 5 people that come onto this Zoom call, I know maybe 2-3 streams ago, there's 2 members of the call that were, one was going to school in Chicago, the other one was from Chicago.
Sorry, I'm on a stream.
And they lived across the street from one another. And then they get connected via this from, some Canadian guy that was able to connect them via NBA 2K, which is just crazy to think how small the world can actually be, especially in these crazy times as well. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, that's good stuff. Just to confirm here, Clippers is Mitchell, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, Mitchell's pushing for game 3. Come on,
He is.
Raphael, what's going on here, eh?
Yeah,
knew he
it's Denver is an interesting team to say the least. It's a good competitive match, and I'm just excited to be down by 1 point.
Well, you have a good Canadian boy, Jamal Murray, right there, so maybe use him a bit more, and things will be all right. But
well, I'm allowing my subs to get in there, so I'm not just playing with the starters the whole game.
Ooh, a little shot.
So it's been good. It's been good though. Down by 1.
Sounds like an excuse.
No, it's no excuse.
No,
we're after it.
Okay.
We're after it. But bringing it back to just more like sports and everything, I think, a really awesome opportunity that I had that, was international, just learning about different cultures and different pieces of just different sports, is being a part of the Chinese national basketball team. But before I left to China, I was thankfully honored a position with the Chinese national basketball team, and they basically flew me out for 2 months, and I was able to travel in China, helping get professional athletes a job in China. And so, we went all throughout the southern provinces of China, and just the sports and language and culture is just so beautiful there. And so I think there's such diverse, capabilities from, their love for the game of basketball and even local sports that are around there. So, I think to bring it full circle, I think there's so many great opportunities, whether it be here in the States with smaller sports or, anywhere outside of the country. There's always opportunities to kind of explore and yearn to learn a little bit more about.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to move away from that topic quickly. Do you mind maybe giving us a little background? You just threw China out of nowhere. How did you get involved with the Chinese national basketball team?
Yeah, so my professor at the time, so again, I was a musical theater major. And so when I transferred out of Carnegie Mellon, I was kind of at a loss for words, because, I was like, well, this was my passion for, so long, and here I am changing that. And, I ended up meeting this wonderful mentor of mine, Monique May, who said, hey, how about you try business of sport? And I was like, absolutely, let's try it. It's something I've always loved. And, she was like, well, I'm a sports agent at Barnes & May Marketing Company. And, I'd love to offer you kind of a role, with the Chinese national basketball team, because she had a good plug in, being an agent. She works with a lot of WNBA players and international teams that are all over the Asian and South American markets. And I jumped at the opportunity. I said, well, I'm still trying to figure it out. I don't know what I'm trying to do, but here we are. So I ended up getting a visa to China, and we flew into Hong Kong, and then we basically, I jumped at the opportunity that presented itself. So it kind of worked out well, where I was able to live in China for 2 months, and it was an incredible time. I didn't pay a cent out of my pocket. It was great.
That's always a bonus. That's amazing. Sounds like a crazy experience, and just being able to, jumping on an opportunity, you never know where it's going to end up. So that's for sure cool there.
Absolutely. And I think it just kind of furthers the point that I was talking about earlier, which is you just really can't gawk at any opportunity. You never know what doors that'll open, and you can explore so many different pieces. So I think it's just keeping your mind open to the possibilities, and always being positive, and knowing that, it's okay to not know. It's okay to be wary of where you're going in your life, but just know that there's always, another side to that tunnel, or another side of that door that you open up.
Yeah.
Raphael, I hate to jump off, but I'm going to forget if I don't say it now. You went to Carnegie Mellon, correct?
Yes, I did.
That's in Pittsburgh, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So I was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania for a semester, and then I dropped out and decided that ultimately liberal arts education would be better. And, obviously my love for the arts was very strong, and Steppenwolf and Second City are there. So I figured, maybe I can still cultivate that passion for theater again. And, it ended up not happening, but I found my calling with sports and was very fortunate for the opportunity. And, here I am. But yeah, so, Carnegie Mellon was kind of a door that opened that, I had to jump on at the time. And, Pittsburgh is such an incredible place, great food, incredible people. And, it was something that I really enjoyed. I had a great 6 months there.
Dude, it's good to hear that because I live 40 minutes from Pittsburgh. So I'm actually closer to Pittsburgh than I am Cleveland.
Oh, really?
So I'm there all the time. I know my dad actually has worked with Carnegie Mellon previously. He didn't work there, but
that's awesome.
They were one of his accounts when he was in sales. So very interesting tie back there. Small world.
Small world
again. Yeah, that small world piece, of just like there's always one commonality that you can find in anything. And so that's very cool. It's two people from different backgrounds, and I'm from South America. So it goes to show you how small this world really is and how many, pieces that we can kind of find in common just through conversation.
Yeah, for sure. I'm just curious how many people in 5-10 years time from now are going to be like, oh, hey, I was in that tournament as well. Because there's 64 people excluding myself at the minimum that are involved in this. So I can only imagine who I'm going to run into down the line. Who you guys are going to run into too.
Sure.
But, yeah, it's cool stuff. Especially, I found, Mitchell, we connected on LinkedIn. You and Dylan both being in Ohio, same conference for your schools. And then Raphael was going to school just 40 minutes away. So I guess I'm the one left out here. I'm a couple hours away.
Hey, you brought us all together, so that's what matters. Right?
See, I'm the melting pot. You guys go in the pot. I'm just going to mix you guys all in. But no, that's definitely good stuff. Sorry, I'm just looking at the score here. It's going back and forth, no? It was Mitchell.
Yeah, it has been.
Okay, good stuff, I'm sure everyone's entertained. ESPN, shout out to you guys. Pick us up. But, yeah. That'd be crazy. Imagine like ESPN here in Canada, it's TSN or Sportsnet, picking it up, putting me and all of us on TV.
What else is there going on right now there, friend? I don't know. I mean,
on ESPN?
In terms of sports in general is what I mean.
Yeah.
Well, there's
besides soccer, they have the basketball tournaments going on in Columbus right now.
Yeah.
Which basketball tournament?
It's called the basketball tournament, so it's just one where, a ton of like a lot of it's like a 24 team bracket, but it's like a lot of the teams are made up of like former college athletes. So like an Ohio State alumni team, there's a Syracuse, Marquette, Notre Dame alumni team, but they all compete, and there's like the prize purse is like $1 million for the winning team at the end. Mm-hmm. So it's like a 24 team bracket single elimination tournament that they play. So I think this is year like 5 of it, but yeah, that's currently on ESPN right now. I'm not sure if they're playing at this hour, but yeah, during the day they typically start around like 2 Eastern time, I think, with like the first game of the day. But it's fun to watch just because you see a lot of there's one of the teams that I just watched a game this afternoon, and one of the guys was the point guard for Central Michigan when I was working in the athletics department at Miami, because he was one of the top players in the NCAA as a senior. So it was kind of just cool to watch him play again in this tournament.
For sure. I never heard of that. That's amazing. And on top too, we're the 7th today? I think we got 3 more weeks until the whole sports world erupts August 1st. So
yeah,
we
fingers crossed.
Yeah, of course, fingers. I think NHL's good to go. I think they announced that today. Players, PA.
I saw one of the MLS games was already postponed. I can't remember between
really
who.
Already.
Yeah.
See, my thing is though, so obviously you want sports back. You want the entertainment, you want that work as well, but then NHL, every day there's an update. They're like, we're one step closer. We're going to phase 3. Phase 4 is going to begin this day. But I keep getting notifications. 25 players, 26 players diagnosed with COVID. It's like, they're going to be spitting, sweating, maybe their faces or something. They're close, hitting in hockey and all that. I read something too that some doctor recommended they put like bubbles on their helmets, no hitting. For face-offs, you have to be 2 meters apart, no fighting. I was like, hey, that's not hockey anymore. Let's just cancel the season if it's gonna get to that. But thankfully,
Well, isn't one of the MLS teams like Dallas FC or something like that, or FC Dallas has like their entire team is pretty much infected, and I'm pretty sure like because I think MLS is in Orlando if I'm correct, and they're pretty much quarantined to like completely separate from all the other teams, like not even in the same building. Because I know like the NBA, like a lot of those teams are in the same resort at Disney, but MLS like FC Dallas is completely in a separate area quarantining, so obviously they don't infect any other teams. So yeah, I guess we'll see how those situations kind of affect the teams as a whole, because even the NBA, sure, they've had, there's a number of players that have COVID, but they've, a lot of them have said like they're not going to travel and that they're not going to compete. So how are teams going to kind of fill those gaps? Is there a chance that a team loses a majority of players and can't field the team, or obviously they're going to have to sign a number of free agents just to play out the season?
See, that's what I was thinking as well for hockey, just in terms, I'm obviously a big hockey fan. Let's say you're on the cup run, right? You're here. Just let's go again with the game quickly, since we're going to game 3.
Yeah, definitely.
Not that you guys were going slowly. I just meant that, but yeah, just go ahead with the randoms again, and then we can go from there. But just in terms of a whole playoff bracket, let's say you are, fighting for the Stanley Cup. I don't know if baseball is still gonna. Is it just a tournament, or are they actually going for the World Series as well?
I think they're just.
Sorry to interrupt. No team LeBron, right?
No.
It's like all NBA teams. Okay, cool. That was my second one, just in case the stream goes crazy. Hey, pick 3.
Yeah. The millions of people just messaged me.
The Denver Nuggets got selected twice.
Go get. You can't be the same team that you've been before, so you get to go.
Okay, I got Team USA.
Go again.
I just want to make sure it's fair. Phoenix. Okay, I'll go with Phoenix. Why not?
Okay.
Phoenix, Detroit.
So I got Jazz and I got Pistons. So I played my brother with the Pistons a couple weeks ago and got waxed. So I'm definitely gonna have to go 3.
Okay.
Let's see what we got.
Maybe you get something worse.
No, there we go.
I got Nuggets.
All
right.
Actually, you have to go again since we already had Nuggets to keep it interesting.
Don't. Okay, gotcha. I feel you. Let's see. World. Can't do world.
No. Man, I guess 2K doesn't want us to go.
Oh, we're doing Phoenix. Both Phoenix.
Okay, maybe both of you guys just do one last random and we just go whatever you guys do.
Hometown team, baby. Let's go Cavs.
Oh, okay.
I was wondering if you're going to land on the Cavs at some point.
That's actually a pretty even matchup. Looking at it, fairly even.
That's a matchup right there. I like this. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
But just in terms of what I was saying for the playoff bracket, let's say you're actually like vying for the championship, and the whole team gets wiped out with COVID. Well, are the playoffs just done with a week to go? So I don't even know.
Well, yeah, Brooklyn has it the worst. I mean, they've already lost basically half their squad. Some of them due to injury, but then others to family or COVID symptoms. So I hope they all get well. But I feel bad. Spencer Dinwiddie, KD, Kyrie. That whole bunch. So, I just feel bad for all of them. And then DeAndre.
They can pretty much make a starting 5 out of their guys that are either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's crazy. Especially just, I don't know if you guys saw the pictures where at Disney they're setting up the home courts for each of the teams in a conference room, or it looks like a conference room. And I was just trying to picture what it's gonna look like on TV, having 5 NBA courts in some conference room where you still see the carpet. Obviously, they're probably gonna, do team branding everywhere, NBA branding, so you don't see the carpet and all that stuff. But just how that's gonna work, it's gonna look like a big AAU tournament or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, even with the basketball tournament going on right now, it's in Nationwide Arena in Columbus, which is where the Blue Jackets play, but they're all playing on the same court, so they just have curtains around the entire thing. I'm sure there probably aren't any fans there for this right now, and it's just the teams and the officials and the operations crew. But yeah, to your point about kind of being set up in that conference room style, it's if you get a lot of AAU or any kind of volleyball leagues and stuff, they just have a ton of courts set up in convention centers and stuff. I'm sure we'll kind of have that same thing. And they've already kind of stated, besides families, nobody else is going to be there. So they really don't have to worry about spacing out for stands and things like that. So yeah, it'll definitely be interesting to see, especially, I don't know if they have plans to like play multiple games at one time, because that would be kind of crazy to see like two games. You see a game going on in the background of your TV.
Yeah. That'd be even wild. I don't know if you guys saw any highlights. I was watching highlights from the Juve game the other day, and I think Ronaldo or Dybala scored. Usually the huge crowd. They literally scored, and you just hear like the players, yeah. And it just feels like it's like high school or something, or like, when you're a kid where you kind of kick, you yell, and that's it. And it was kind of the most eerie sense, because you see like these big like icons in sports like Ronaldo, and then obviously there's other players on Juve like Dybala and Corrado and all that stuff, but you're just looking at them, they're like, yeah, and then it almost doesn't feel like they scored. It's like, okay, are we gonna review that, something like that? But definitely all
I've only watched a couple soccer games like during quarantine here, but I know like I noticed like at least the last one I watched, all the seat coverings like that they had draped over, they had like screen printed for like with people on it to make it, as you're watching it on TV, it kind of looks like there's people sitting there. And then even the Korean Baseball League, I don't know if you guys have watched it. Like the seat covers that they have draped across those two, they have like people and like animals and stuff like that just printed on it, just to make it look like there's something out there and it's not just like an empty seat, which it's kind of funny. And just looking at some of the graphics that they have placed around there.
No, for sure. I heard I think it's Korean baseball as well. Someone told me, I think it was on the stream, a team just put stuffed animals in the crowd. I don't know if you guys heard of that.
Yeah.
Like I think someone else too, there's a league that put cardboard cutouts in the seats. It almost seems like a waste of money at that point. The seat covers are fine because bad weather, you can use those again, but like cardboard cutouts, cardboard gets wet, anything like that, it's done. So
to be honest, guys, I don't know if any of you tune in to pivot to professional wrestling. I know that it's obviously scripted, and I don't know if we consider it a sport here, but I tune in, and they've done something interesting. They've taken all the wrestlers that aren't on the show that night, and they've been COVID tested, so everything's okay, and they throw them in the crowd, and the wrestlers make crowd noise and hype up, and it adds a whole nother layer to the experience. So maybe they can pull out of WWE's book and give it a unique flair, something like that.
Yeah, no.
Well, I'm not a fan of wrestling, but I am a huge fan of UFC, and so I'm not sure if you guys saw the couple matches that they had where it was literally it was all sponsorship, which was really cool from like a sports lens and wanting to get into sports. Like you just saw so many different marketing elements of like signage, and you saw all the different sponsors in there, and it was completely empty. Like the only people that were there were some media members, the team, the rest of the fighters, obviously, and that was it. That was the big attraction. But the viewership was excellent. It was just everybody's yearning for sports. Everybody wants sports to come back. So I think that there was some beauty to watching just two guys go ham without any sort of rooting or cheering or any, like, even the knockout. It was the only bit of excitement was the announcer screaming, which was always really interesting to kind of see that element.
Yeah. I'm curious how sports in August, obviously everyone's, fiending for sports. You just want to get that itch scratched. But with, I think, MLS, so most of the major sports, obviously not football because it's not their season yet, most of the major sports that we're playing, it will be playing in August. And then you have the smaller leagues. I know in Canada we have a small basketball league that's going to have a tournament for a week or two, start of August. And then all these different leagues are all, boom, in August. So, yes, people are going to be itching for sports, but, you can only watch so many things at once. And so I'm curious, like, who gets left out here? Or
that's crazy, though, because you have, they're all going to overlap at some point. Like, if the NBA, the NBA is playing through October, that's obviously going to run into baseball if baseball goes on, and same with the NHL, and eventually, at some point, if the NFL and NCAA football go on too, it's like, who's fighting for those primetime spots?
Yeah, 100%. That's definitely something interesting to think about, because I like the fall. I'm born in the fall. There's no bugs out. Here in Ottawa, it's either -40 or it's 40 degrees Celsius with humidity. Like today, crazy hot. I had a practice today. But what is it? So fall's kind of the perfect weather, everything, and then sports, right? You have hockey starting, basketball starting up, football just started, baseball you're in the playoffs. So it's kind of the perfect element. but some are just starting, some are finishing, so it's the perfect mesh. But having everyone like for 2 months, 3 months straight, that seems like a lot. So I'm curious like who ends up getting the viewership, whether everyone's just gonna watch their top sport. So for instance, maybe I'll like watch hockey and the other teams I'm a fan of, or if everyone's gonna be like, oh, I'll watch this. So it's definitely interesting.
Oh,
Just ask that question then. Just maybe a little awkward silence. Never heard anyone too. But what are you guys watching? Let's say top 3. Let's say sports come on tomorrow. What leagues or teams are you watching right off the bat?
All right, I'll start off, I guess. So, I know it's not the season yet, and it'll be determinant on that. But NFL all day, number 1. Like Steelers, 100%. Pittsburgh, gotta represent. I go to most of the games.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah,
Nice.
huge Steelers fan. People always ask, "Oh, you're from Ohio. How are you a Steelers fan? Why don't you like the Browns?" I'm closer to Pittsburgh, so you can't fault me there. But
Disappointing.
sorry, Dylan. You know what it is. You're probably one of those people asking that question to me, but
So with plenty of Steelers fans, so you're all right.
It's kind of divided, which is interesting. A lot of people from Ohio are split. It seems 50-50 to me, being from south of Cleveland, but I don't know what it's like in that general area.
What's your 2 and 3? Is it just Steelers?
To answer your question, I guess.
Yeah.
you just got the Steelers. That's it.
You're like, yeah,
Oh,
Steelers. I love the Steelers.
Steelers.
Did I say Steelers? No.
To answer your question,
Yeah.
probably NFL, NBA, and then you got to go with NHL just based off the pure adrenaline of it all the time. There's a total nonstop action. So
Yeah. Dylan, I'll go there.
So for me, I'd have to be Lakers. I'm a huge Lakers fan. Growing up in LA, we're very close to a contention and a title. So I've 100% Lakers. I think the next one would be the Kings. Even though the Kings have not been very good as of late, I would say that my love for the Kings has not dwindled, even though they haven't been as good as of late. But yeah, I would say Lakers, Kings, and then Rams. Why not? Why not? I'll be a bandwagon fan. I mean, just because I'm from LA, so
No Chargers?
I would say Rams would be my third. No, man, we aren't a Chargers town,
Yeah. That's tough, especially for the Chargers. Just watching those games, no one's there, but I'm sure they'll turn.
Well,
around.
I mean, they shouldn't have left San Jose. They were perfectly fine, or San Diego, wherever they were from, man. Yeah,
No one cares.
I mean that's our attitude about the Chargers.
Hey, they just wanted their new
nobody
stadium,
really knows a
though.
lot about them.
yeah, new stadium. That's right. I was just gonna say that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's
Dylan, what about you?
From Columbus, I got to go. Ohio State's definitely the top there. So
I thought you were going to say Blue Jackets.
college football above all. Should be ending of last season was a little disappointing, but we'll see how this season shakes out if they're on schedule. I'm a little nervous if it becomes a spring season, just with the amount of athletes that we have that would be eligible to go to the draft. But always confident we'll field a good team competing for championships. So, and then I'd say second, probably Indians. Especially with the shortened season, I think the MLB will probably get a lot more viewership just because of the competitiveness of playing 60 games into the postseason. So I think a lot of teams that maybe lower on the totem pole, they'll have a huge chance to put together some wins early on to put them in contention for the playoffs. So I think the MLB's in for a really interesting second half of what their typical season is. And then I'd say third, typically I'd say the Cavs, but I don't think they're, except for the other tournament that could be going on in Chicago with the lesser teams in the NBA. Honestly, I don't think they'll get a whole lot of action, but I'll go with the Browns because we're still holding out hope for the next couple of seasons here.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see how the Browns
You guys have
go.
a good team, though.
Good team
Wow,
on
they have a
paper.
good team,
No offense.
you know?
Good team on paper.
No.
You got to give them a year to mesh. They're not going to mesh in one season like that.
Freddie Kitchens I don't think he was the right hire. I think they have a great team. I think that they did a good job in the draft. So I think it's just give them time, like everything, comes with time, and
I don't want time.
Yeah, I mean, well, they had a lot of time in the off season, so here we go. So they're all fired up, they're ready to go, man.
Nice job.
They have turned it around in the draft recent years. I'd say Myles Garrett really started the trend of good drafts for the Browns. So I'd say they've set themselves up. Now they just gotta execute and put it all together.
Oh, for sure. I think Baker.
Yeah, easier said than done, though.
I know.
Yeah. I guess for me, I'm a huge Sanders fan. Unfortunately, recently they're not in contention for playoffs. So, and I'm also a huge Patriots fan. So don't get at me on that. I lived in Boston. I was a huge Randy Moss fan when he was with the Vikings, and then I started going to Boston, so I started becoming a Patriots fan. And then I was even going on Madden on my GameCube, trading Moss to the Patriots. And then eventually he ended up on the Patriots. I'm like, oh, this is my team. But, so those are my two teams. But, yeah. So,
how does it feel to lose Tom Brady?
Feels amazing.
Are you
win another Super Bowl without him?
Are you crying about it? Or are you?
So you're one of those guys, huh? Okay.
So I'm more of a team. I'm not gonna lie. So I'm more of a team. If you leave, I'm a fan of the team. Obviously, I'm a fan of Brady. I think he's great. But he left. We didn't. He left us. Is my mindset. And
okay.
And I'm not gonna lie either. I'm not
Cam's career up.
Pardon? A little. Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm pumping up Cam. Absolutely. Cam's an MVP contender. But what I was gonna say here. So look, love Brady, love the Patriots, but even last season, you can ask any of my friends who watched football with me last year.
What a lucky roll.
I was starting to say Brady's throws look a little off. You know what I mean? I know huge Edelman fan. He had the most drops last year, but
maybe
if you watch, Kent State, shout out to Kent State. If you watch the games, some of the throws were fairly off, and he's like diving for balls where it is hitting his hands, and he is, technically dropping them. But they weren't in a position for him to, pull in and make a move with it. So that's my defense for Edelman. But there wasn't enough zip in his balls anymore. I was starting to notice that a bit.
Oh, okay.
But
I truthfully feel they don't have a great wide receiver roster. Like it can't just be Julian Edelman, and they're all getting older. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I went to what was it? Against the Bills. I think week 16. Yeah, week 16 against the Bills, Brady's last home win. N'Keal Harry, so he was injured for most of the year. Everyone was kind of hating on him. But that's a big boy. And when he's healthy next year, I think he's going to do some damage. Got 2 tight ends this year in the draft too. Mohamed Sanu, he has that connection with Cam. I think he'll be a good turnaround too. So I think they'll do some damage, I'm sure. And they always do well with undrafted wide receivers as well. Like, what's his name? Gunner.
If they don't win the division, they'll make it in as a wild card, so they'll be in contention.
Yeah, and what, the Dolphins are going to push us out of the playoffs? No. Bills?
Yeah, everybody's pulling for the Bills probably to.
Yeah.
I think everybody wants anybody but the Patriots to win that division, so we'll see.
Every year. But, why hate on greatness, Why not just appreciate it for a bit? But, just to, answer my question, I got to bring myself back here on track. Sports were returned. Not a huge baseball fan. Obviously, the Blue Jays, when they get into the playoffs, watch that. If it's on TV, I'll sit down and watch it. But is the game over?
No, man.
No, 32-34. Final seconds, man.
Mitchell, you're Cavs,
it's coming down to the wire.
I'm the Cavs, correct.
He's up, yeah.
To be honest, I probably just watch soccer. I'm not going to lie. I'll watch soccer and then maybe the Raptors, Blue Jays.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You need to...
I'm going to let we're a little lagged here, but I feel like you can't let that happen. I'm not the biggest guy in the world either, but I think I could stop that. No. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just kidding. It was a joke. We can laugh a little on this stream. It's not too serious.
What?
Yeah, no. Here, I'm just gonna watch the gameplay here a bit. Kind of enjoy it for a bit. Let it soak.
It is tight, man. I'll give you that.
Oh yeah. Hey, now that I'm looking at my messages on my phone, I'm gonna be FaceTiming my Australian friends right after this. Have you guys ever seen Australian rules football? or AFL?
I have not.
Australia. Nuts. Absolutely nuts. Watch it. It's crazy.
What?
Knees to the back of the head. Guys just punching each other. It's like rugby on steroids. It's crazy. Check it out on YouTube. It's nuts. But yeah, they have some unreal sports down there too. Sorry, I'm just gonna, you know what? I'm gonna be quiet for a bit.
Come
and watch
on there.
The last 30
Come on.
seconds.
Come on, Garland.
Yeah, you need to drop that.
Yeah. That second one for sure helps, but I'm not home free yet, that's for sure.
Oh, why did you come in?
Yeah, that was not great spacing. I don't know why the game did that to you. Hashtag 2K logic.
I know, right?
Do you guys have any other games? Like, actually, I probably have that on Excel sheet somewhere.
Great shot there, friend. Good shot.
So what,
Oh, no.
we have, what, 8 seconds?
Oh, F1! Oh!
That was clutch. Oh, no. He's
Ooh.
going for the...
Guys, it's coming down to the last minute here. Winner plays Penn State, I believe, on the 17th. So, who's it going to be? Ooh.
There we go.
Maybe
Okay.
should have got Sexton on the line, to be honest, because...
All right, you just got to miss one.
Yeah.
That won't do it.
Okay. This
Dylan,
could
who's
seal
your
it.
money on?
On me, baby.
Game.
Yeah, I got to go with the Cavs here.
Yeah, man.
Raphael didn't like that answer, but
Oh, no, you know what? You know, I can't be upset. You know, it's a well-fought game, man. It's been back and forth this whole game. So
Same to you,
know,
man. You're a great
give 'em
player.
props.
oh yeah.
Tough.
When you guys went on Superstar, I'm like, oh, I don't know about that, but no, definitely a good game. Probably, I've been saying this. I think yesterday we won three games as well, but extremely tight the last few nights. So that's good stuff. At least just for the visual aspect. Obviously, we're entertaining people just with our dialogue as well, so people can look forward to that. But is game over?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, game's over.
Round of applause for you guys. Thank you for joining. Amazing entertainment. That leaves us with Penn State versus Kent State. Oh, that rhymes.
Oh, a nice little rematch from football a couple years ago. So hopefully I pull it out this next time.
So that's you know what? You might be no, you're playing 2K. It'll be 2K as well. Penn State unfortunately only has 2K. But if you win that matchup, there's a high chance you end up playing Madden right after.
That's my game, dude. So hopefully I get to that point. But good game, Raphael, man. That was highly contested on all three fronts. That was great.
Yeah,
game.
man. Congrats to you, man. You know, beat Penn State for me. You know, please. That's all I ask. You know, is just one of us beat Penn State. It doesn't matter who goes on to the next. But Mitchell, congrats, man. You're awesome component, and yeah, it's just been a pleasure.
Same to you, man. It's good to talk to all you guys, man. Great to meet up.
This is great. I guess before we go, I know we kind of went. Usually it's around 9 o'clock that we finish. But if there's any last little words or hey, like find me on social media, LinkedIn, etc. By all means, please do your plugging. This is the free plugging of the episode.
I guess I'll go first, man. So, Chris, first, thanks for inviting me to come on this for another opportunity. Dylan with Living Sport, thank you for coming on and chatting with us, man. It was great to link up and meet someone in the general area. So it seems like we might have some connections that are similar. And Raphael, very good to meet you, man, all the way across the nation. So very cool. Thank you, everyone. I'd like to plug my social media here to my left, obviously.
That was good. I like that.
MWR_2016 on Instagram. On Twitter, I'm MWR_2020. That's my professional profile. And on LinkedIn, just Mitchell Reiner. You can find me up on there. I got a nice little headshot. So thanks, guys.
Yeah. And if you want to find his name, it's right here in the Zoom call. Yeah. Dylan.
So yeah, from my perspective, obviously, thank you so much, Chris, for inviting me to be a part of this. It's been an absolute pleasure to be, here and contending against Mitchell. I really appreciate, you reaching back out to me and getting it going. I think that this has been an awesome experience for me to grow and learn about a different, piece of the business. In addition to Dylan, thank you so much from Living Sport. I mean, awesome to hear your advice and some of those pieces on where you're from and the background and what you guys are doing in the community. And then Mitchell, from Kent State, my man, I appreciate the fight. I know every single game was to the wire. So, again, I appreciate that. Sorry, Don Nation. Again, I think that's my only plug. Don Nation, I'm sorry we couldn't get it done. We, normally we can in sports, but it's all right. We'll just have to practice a little bit harder.
Sure.
But yeah, at Raphael Reed, if you guys want to reach out to me, I appreciate your time and thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Last but not least.
All right. Well, yeah, Chris, again, thanks so much for putting this on. I know, as a member of the Living Sport Network, it's awesome to have this opportunity, and I'm excited to see what you and Living Sport do, moving forward beyond the 32 Blitz here. So, I'm definitely excited to stay involved as much as possible as I have with Living Sport. Mitch, congrats on the win today. Close it out with the hometown team.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Always good to meet another Ohioan. So yeah, I was excited to see Kent State pop up on the schedule. So I had to jump on this one to be the guest here. And then yeah, from everybody at Living Sport, great to meet you guys, Raphael and Mitchell. Happy to share my experiences, a little bit about the Living Sport background, and then hopefully we can connect, further beyond this on LinkedIn and whatever it may be. So, reach out to me on LinkedIn. My name is, below me here, Dylan Hammond, and then hit me up on Instagram, Ham on Wheat. So last name that you see there and then Wheat after.
Good name.
Feel free to follow me. And then, yeah, if anybody on the stream, anybody listening, reach out to me on LinkedIn if you have any questions regarding my career path. Always happy to share. And, I've had a number of phone calls during this quarantine, have some extra downtime to network and meet with a lot of people. So, always happy to talk more.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess the last thing I'll say here is, thanks all you guys for coming on the stream. If it wasn't for all you guys saying yes and, Dylan being a great guest, wouldn't have a 32 team bracket, 32 school bracket. So definitely appreciate you guys for, I know Raphael too, especially, coming home from work early. I really appreciate that. And, just coordinating the times and, making your schedules available. That's much appreciated. So thank you there. And the last thing I'll say is I'll plug myself here. So if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, it's the name right here, Christopher Nascimento. Yes, that is a doozy. But you can find me there. We can connect. I love chatting with people. Email, call, messaging. It's all good stuff. I answer everyone as quickly as I can, but sometimes it gets a little long depending on the platform. But additionally, if you want to follow me and whatever I'm doing, whether it's with this tournament, Nascimento Marketing's 32 Blitz presented by Living Sport, you can find it at Nascimento Marketing. So that's just the top of the banner there. And I have my podcast. You can find it there, The Route, THE Route, on all major podcast platforms: Apple, Google, Spotify, and other ones I don't even know what they are. But they're all over the place. You can check it out. And I'm sure all four of us will be happy to connect with anyone. But you guys just stay on the call for a bit just so we can do one last thing. But that's it for today's stream. Thanks for joining. And that's it for Nascimento Marketing's 32 Blitz presented by Living Sport. Tomorrow's stream will be Bishop's University versus Brock University on Madden. So a Canadian school matchup finishing up round 1 this week. Thank you so much.